Hey there everybody, AJ back for the Mighty Gluestick channel. Time for the much anticipated vid on the very unusual Steel Dragon. One of the metallic dragons native to Abiatoral, thus quite rare by the standards of all of the realms, and what is more, the dragon most likely to be encountered without any idea that you just encountered a dragon. Steel dragons in their natural form are graceful and almost feline. They have very expressive, almost human-like faces and a lot of spines around the back of the head and below the jaw, which appear very much like hair and a beard, which they may decorate with fine metals and gems. They are lean, mainly because they don't tend to eat as much as they really should, and the reason is that they prefer, more so than any other metallic dragon, to remain in humanoid form almost all of the time. Being a dragon has metabolic requirements, however. They have to make their excuses once a month and head out into the wilderness to hunt for large game, or find a way to have a large amount of food delivered to a secret location where they can revert to draconic form and enjoy a full-sized meal. The rest of the time they dine in their human form with their human friends, sort of just snacking, you could say. Usually lawful neutral, but often lawful good, steel dragons have an endless fascination with the politics, history, cultures, and artistic styles of civilized races. Their chosen environment is an urban one. Wherever humanoids build cities, they may be there. Typically, one would consider a whole town to be their territory, with a particularly large city, such as Waterdeep, being home to a few steel dragons. Actually, some refer to steel dragons as Waterdeep Dragons, because they are known to be there. They make their lair in humanoid-style dwellings, anything of sufficient size to have a strong room where they can keep their hoard of treasure. So it could be a castle, a large shop, an inn, boarding house, that sort of thing. They are dragons, after all. Some things are pretty constant with dragonkind, so they like to keep a hoard. With a lifespan far exceeding that of any humanoid species, these dragons use their magical powers and shape-shifting and superior intellect to infiltrate and establish themselves right in the center of the action, where they can witness pivotal moments in history and the rise of prominent individuals and the careers of the most skilled bards, artists, and craftspeople. In Waterdeep, the adult female dragon Jalan Veloz operates out of several venues she owns. She is known as the Worm of Many Spells in her draconic true identity, and it is very typical of steel dragons to be accomplished masters of the arcane arts. As they much prefer to operate in humanoid form, spells allow them some of the might they otherwise conceal. There is an excellent image of Jalan Veloz in the Dragons of Faerun book. We see her about to take flight out of a loft window, what's great about this image is that she's partially transformed. Her hands are talons, cracking the plaster on the building wall. Her burnished wings are stretched out, ready to take to the sky. But the rest of her, head and torso, is that of one of her human personas, Merioth, of Meroth's fine silks. So you can see from this image that they don't have to transform their entire body. They don't have to polymorph their entire form at once. They can actually just reveal their wings, for instance. She is very active in the city, Merioth, and she knows most of the goings-on of the noble houses. Many of them, the merchant houses, I should say, many of them owe her money, and she can call in debts and borrow money sufficient to fill her hoard room to the very brim, probably a couple of times over. She is also on very good terms with a number of renowned adventuring groups, including the Cat's Claw Company, Belga's Boastful Band, and the Seven Swords of Sale Street. All of which I didn't make those names up. All of which gained their start by the generous help of Jalan Veloz, who serves as the patron of many aspiring adventurers. After all, she is no stranger to adventuring herself. Of course, adventuring was mere playful training for a metallic dragon, as one would understand if they knew the true extent of the activities in and around the city, of what metallic dragons actually do. In 1373 DR, she tracked the cult of the dragon from the city of Waterdeep to the Rat Hills and slew Nalbelnith, an adult male black dragon, and wiped the presence of the followers of the Scaly Way from Waterdeep to this day. That's not the only dragon she's killed, however, nor the most impressive. In an act of tit-for-tat vengeance, she slew two young blue dragon sisters, Calorn Thrina and Dereverois, who had the misfortune of working as elite couriers for the Rosnar family of Arm. After that family had sent agents to the city to set fire to several of Jalan Veloz's properties. All of this stemmed back to the early life of the Worm of Many Spells, as she served as the mount, apprentice, and friend of the human archmage Rithales back in Arm. And although he is now long dead, his enemies became her enemies. So, long history of the dragons has got to be factored in. Day to day, she wheels and deals, carefully acquiring properties and alliances, advancing herself in the nobility of Waterdavian merchant elites. And one day, she dreams of being the queen of a prosperous elven kingdom that she will establish in the western high forest, protected by an army of former adventuring companies loyal to her. A suitably grand plan for a steel dragon. So, in their humanoid guise, they always have some hint of the draconic nature in the form of some steel feature, such as a steely eye colour, steel grey hair, nails, some item of clothing, or a favourite decorative piece of jewellery. If caught by complete surprise, they may react with their true strength and speed, or of course survive damage that would kill any normal humanoid. They can be pretty bold in their day-to-day life, such as transforming to appear like a stone monument, still in full draconic form, and taking a snooze in the sunshine draped over another monument. And such is the nature of Waterdavians, the vast majority wouldn't even raise an eyebrow as to why there was a new dragon statue there, or where it went the next day. Steel dragons only fight in draconic form if the battle is truly life or death, or to put an end to a fight immediately, using their dramatic transformation and a full blast of dragon fear to scare their aggressors really, really badly. They can polymorph into any humanoid or animal form of medium size or smaller 5 times a day and stay in that form for as long as they like. In dragon form, they can attack with incredible ferocity, not just from the tooth and claw power they have, but with their breath weapons and very impressive spellcasting mastery. They are in the top rung of the dragons who shrug off spells. A mature adult steel dragon will simply slap aside first and second level spells and has advantage on all saves against third and fourth level spells. They can cast arcane and divine spells, specialise in arcane enchantment magic, which they can use to flat out bamboozle opponents even in the middle of combat. I mean, mass suggestion in a crowded city, command, suggestion, hold spells, slipping in and out of draconic form, getting lost in a crowd which moves precisely where they want it to go, leading opponents into the perfect position, and then unleashing one of 2 types of breath weapon. The first is a 60-foot cone of poison gas. Not only does it do 66 damage the round it blasts into a wide area, those who fail the Constitution save take an additional 66 1 minute or 10 rounds later and lose 1 point of Constitution until they recover during a long rest. That is seriously poisonous, eh? The second breath attack is a line of acid. This is more of a utility attack to control the area of battle and remove obstacles or create them in the form of a large pool of sizzling acid. Again, this does 66 damage, though it requires a dexterity save to avoid getting doused in the stuff. Steel dragons will, however, avoid using acid if they are fighting in or near their own home. The acid tends to linger and can ruin city sewers, poison wells, and hurt innocent bystanders. Steel dragons will not be fighting alone. They always have a select few very close friends who know who they really are and will fight to the death in their defense. These are people who have known and loved this dragon for almost their entire life and owe them everything. Most of them will be formidable indeed, high-level active or retired adventurers. Then there is the long-term repercussions. If this fight happens in the middle of a town or city, in full view of the populace, who will be reeling from the shock of it, this person they have known and perhaps grudgingly admired for years, decades, suddenly turns into a huge dragon and absolutely terrified the hell out of everyone. What now? First of all, what's the outcome of the battle? Did the dragon die? Well, now there's this void in town. So many things just fall apart so suddenly. So many are struck with terrible grief and also anger. You have a whole town or city with confused and emotional people. This is one of the most dangerous environments in the world. The player characters who killed this dragon may be ignored. They may be lauded as heroes. They may be publicly executed. Who knows? I'll leave it up to you. Other steel dragons of note. In Waterdeep, we have Antilothor and Quitturite. In Darnsul, Vasa, near the Castle Perilous, is Razili Mingir, also known as Steelheart. In Neverwinter, the famed seamstress Amundra Nilandra is a founder of the secret Soft Claws organization. Her draconic form is called the Laughing Worm due to her tendency to laugh constantly in combat. Things are pretty wild up north in Faerun, what can I say? Her true name is Zundir Razilim, and she is a venerable steel dragon of impressive power. Although they keep their true nature very quiet, steel dragons can always recognize each other, although it seems that most other dragons cannot. Certainly the chromatics are not very good at it, though I imagine gold and silver dragons can spot them with a fair degree of accuracy. I don't know why, it just seems to me that that would make sense. Now, I know at least one viewer who will hate me saying this, but come on, this dragon species would clearly start the young life as a playable character. Come on, man. Only with the GM's permission, of course, blah, blah, blah. Look, I had a player whose character was a shapeshifted green slud, and he was fully going to ruin the whole party's plans too, except they got TPK'd by a Mind Flayer Elderbrain. I'm no opponent of weird and monstrous playable characters. I played Rifts too, you know. Anyway, hope you do make use of the Steel Dragon in your game. They're very cool and make for a fantastic patron for your player characters to encounter. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll be back with my next video. Is going to be a good one.